Today I'm going to show you how to propagate sweet potatoes. There's a couple of different ways to do this. Sweet potatoes are a great, easy to grow crop that is completely edible from root to leaf to stem. All of it is extremely nutritious. During the Depression, several kids in the area developed epilepsy, and the doctors actually prescribed for them to eat sweet potato leaves to as a vitamin, basically, to get more nutrition in beet tops, turnips and radishes and sweet potato leaves. So this is a great food source. This is what it looks like whenever they start to root. This is a store-bought sweet potato. Well, I actually bought it from the farmers who were shipping it to the stores. We actually have a distribution center not far from here, but it's the same thing that would have been sold in the stores. But if you leave them in a dark place in the box, they will begin to root, and you can just plant straight from that if you need to. All right, to show you, all I did was plant a few sweet potatoes, the whole potato, right under the dirt. I mean, just under the surface. And then it grew up into this. So then the next thing you're gonna wanna do once you get some slips, you can either cut these and put them in water and they'll begin to root, or you actually can just put them straight into the dirt if you keep your dirt moist and they'll root. Or you can pull the potato back up out of the ground, which is what I'm about to do. Okay. Which is going to give you this, and you can cut these off, being sure to keep as much root as possible, and replant them. Everywhere you plant them, you're going to get several more sweet potatoes. All right, so where these are, you can pull these apart, keeping some root on each one, and replant each one. You want to put them a good 8 inches to a foot apart to give them plenty room to grow out. They will vine out like strawberries and go back into the ground in different places, and those places will produce potatoes too, but these parts will produce the best potatoes. You don't have to worry about planting too super deep, because sweet potatoes, unlike white potatoes, will grow down and not up. They grow down like a carrot. Also, unlike white potatoes, which have toxins in the leaves and greenery, sweet potato is actually edible, the entire plant. And the leaves, which it will produce a lot of, can be harvested and cooked just like spinach. Sweet potato will spread and crawl and vine across the ground and create a lot of ground cover that will choke out any grass or weeds. So it makes it a very good plant to plant underneath other plants like tomatoes or things that you want to keep the grass from growing up in. Good for underneath beans and corn and okra, things like that. See, this one I didn't even bother pulling up the potato since I didn't really need to show you what was going on. I just dug my fingers down in deep and pulled some loose. So you really don't even have to dig them up. I really just kind of did that to show you what was going on under the surface. But you can just kind of run your fingers down in here. Make sure you get in deep enough to catch the roots and just pull pieces loose. And then replant them on the next row. They're gonna go into shock a little bit and wilt, but they'll come right back really quick. Keep water on them so those roots can start spreading. Now, another way you could do this, once you break that root off from the original plant, it's never gonna grow back. So another way you could do this, which is, of course, that's fine if you have a small space to fill. But if you want to get a lot off of your plant, You can take a vine that's grown out pretty long and clip it, leaving most of it, and this will continue to grow and it'll grow back and you can replace it. And then you can just take this part, as long as you keep it watered, keep the soil wet, it will produce roots again and it'll take. And you can plant it in the dirt anywhere and it will produce. But you have to keep it wet until it makes roots. So you're going to want to water that probably twice a day for about a week until you can make sure that it's rooted in. All right, just want to go ahead and show you, this is the next day after planting those slips that I cut from just straight off the vine. And they're doing absolutely great. They didn't go into shock, they didn't wilt. Of course, I did it right before rain. We had slow rain throughout the day and some in the night, so that's perfect. So I went ahead and just cut some more. Now I just cut these, so they're looking a little peaked. But these are the ones that were planted yesterday. They're standing up, they're rooting. So if you can keep water on them, if you can keep rainwater on them, that's even better. But if you can keep them wet, you don't have to put them in a jar or anything like that. Some people do that. They put them in jars or in waters until they root. But you can go straight into the ground. All right, little bit of an update. This is after a few weeks, those, I don't know, maybe 5 potatoes that I planted. I've cut a lot of clippings from them and started them elsewhere, but also the vines have grown out. So on the ground, if you did this, they would spread. It doesn't take very much for them to spread out and really produce a lot. And especially since the leaves are edible also. It really is a very simple crop. And they will grow in very poor soil also. They'll grow just about anywhere.